Bleacher Report came out with an article breaking down the top NBA stars to build around that have been drafted in the previous 5 years, and I'm going to break down where they place Scottie Barnes in that list by scrolling through it together with you guys. So we'll go through that. Additionally, Precious Achiuwa's trainer came out and gave a long interview essentially breaking down where he's grown his game this offseason and few nuggets in terms of his perspective heading into next season with the Toronto Raptors. So we have that and a whole bunch more to dive into. So without further ado, let's dive straight into it. Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, breaking down the latest Toronto Raptors news. And, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel already, I was plugging in a bunch and the habit has been picked up. But we're on that goal now for 26,000 subscribers. So we're making that journey, we're marching towards it. So if you want the latest Toronto Raptors news, definitely subscribe to the channel, helps us out big time. But we got some stuff to dive into. And the first thing we're discussing is Bleacher Report's list on their top young stars from around the league and see if Scottie Barnes can crack that top 10. So I got the list pulled up here now. I'll be scrolling through it. I got my phone here so we can use this live feed rather than using some janky browser capturing software. But you can see the article, you can see the list, you can see the headline, and which young stars would you build around from the last 5 NBA drafts? Now, obviously the Toronto Raptors have decided that. They've decided on Scottie Barnes, who is obviously Rookie of the Year and has shown a lot of growth over the course of last season and potentially this summer, just from everything that we've seen. The jump shot, it all looks smoother, it all looks better, but we'll see where Bleacher Report is ranking people in this list. So they're, oh my goodness, I'm scrolling out of things, folks. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't press buttons while we're here, but here's their honorable mentions. Here's who they have on this list. And at 15, they have Tyrese Halliburton, then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 14, which is surprisingly low probably for Shai. Darius Garland at 13, Cade Cunningham at 12, and Donovan Mitchell at 11. Right, potential future Raptor if you're buying into all the trade rumors. Now, Scottie Barnes, not on this list so far. I'm assuming he's ahead of them. I know he is. I creeped this article before, but Halliburton, Shai, I think is a little bit too low on this list here. Garland, I think they're rightly placed. There might be some debate in terms of Cade Cunningham being this low on this spot because, Cade did turn it on at the second half of last season, but you compare him to a Mobley, to Scottie Barnes, right? The two-way potential for those two guys is kind of on another level. So I can see why he's not ahead of those guys. But Donovan Mitchell is probably the most interesting one because obviously he's the most established out of any of these players that are currently on this list so far, and definitely some guys that are going to be shown later in it. But his size, the limitations potentially defensively, that's just, you're looking for someone to build around in this list. We're looking for young stars to potentially build around. So you only have really offensive upside, even if it's, top 3, 4 on this list in terms of offensive upside, right? It's going to limit you. And that's sort of where we're at. So we got Scottie Barnes getting some respect, which we love to see from our Raptors young players. They're making a name for themselves. Maybe Precious Achiuwa should be in this list given his potential growth, but I digress on that point. I won't get too buy into our young Raptors propaganda. Play the propaganda too much, but there he is at number 10. Scottie Barnes coming in. Apparently his highest ranking ever was 7. His lowest ranking was 14th. So Scottie Barnes, obviously with the size and length, he's getting the nod here in the top 10, which is pretty solid there, right? They bring up his versatility. Nick Nurse can plug and play him in different spots and all that sort of stuff. But I'm interested to see who they have ahead of him. And I'd like to know what Raptors fans think. Do you think it's fair that he should be ahead of a guy that's more established like Donovan Mitchell, Canadian like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? Obviously, that I believe that because just his potential growth, his size, the intangibles he has, paired alongside the leadership ability he's already shown at a young age. Right, those are qualities you're looking for when you're looking for a star to build around. But that's pretty high. And I don't actually remember the list of players ahead of him. I just knew he was in the top 10. But Bam Adebayo, obviously established, has made some all-star teams, has made some deep playoff runs. But I'm definitely taking Scottie Barnes over Bam Adebayo. The offensive limitations for Bam are substantial, and for Scottie Barnes, they He's already a better offensive player than Bam Adebayo, in my opinion. So just even though Bam is a solid finisher and has the size and can be a role man for the Miami Heat and has done it, he's made the finals and all that sort of stuff. I think Scottie Barnes is already a better offensive player last season, given his passing ability, his finishing around the rim. Just needs to be a little bit more assertive, a bit more aggressive. But, defensively, Bam is there, but I'm definitely taking Scottie over Bam. I'd take a Donovan Mitchell. I'd take a bunch of those younger guys, Shea over a Bam, but I guess you got to reward winning. LaMelo Ball, also another player I'd be adding Scottie Barnes over. And sure, LaMelo Ball is a much better offensive player at this point. He can create, he's a passer and all that sort of stuff. But Scottie Barnes coming in next season with that renewed jump shot, right? Obviously, he's a much better finisher. Yeah, I don't even know if I want to say he's a much better offensive player, but definitely better. You have to give him the nod from what we've seen in the NBA actual action, but basketball is two ways, and LaMelo Ball is not a strong defender. He's not a strong finisher, and Scottie Barnes has grown in those areas. We're talking about people you want to build around. We're talking about players that you want to sort of take to the next level. You want to take your franchise there, and LaMelo Ball hasn't been able to make the playoffs in his first two seasons, whereas Scottie Barnes came into a team that was the seventh worst team in the league last season, and then, he comes in. We lose Kyle Lowry on top of it, and we're fourth in the playoffs. I know Tampa tank and all that sort of stuff, but results don't lie. Results don't lie on that front. And then we have Evan Mobley here, who is number 2 at his highest ranking, but I'm taking Scottie over Evan Mobley. I just am. I know it's debated. I know that's hot, and Mobley does have the length, but just his dribbling ability and his passing ability at this point, I think they're very marginal. I think it is close. I think Mobley is an astounding young prospect. I'm sure if he was actually on the Raptors and we watched him day in, day in out, we'd probably be just as high on Evan Mobley as we are Scottie Barnes right now. But, even though I'm acknowledging my rose-tinted glasses towards Scottie, the passing is legit. His playmaking and the personality. Evan Mobley does seem like a guy that's, legit star number 1 option in the future, but is he going to be leading the Cavaliers? Is he going to be that alpha in the locker room that's going to, try and get his teammates to the next level, whether it be, leading through example, feeding players, getting them going, and all that sort of stuff? I don't know. So if we're looking at franchise cornerstones, I'm still rocking out with our guy, Scottie Barnes, and then see if there's any egregious ones here. Anthony Edwards. I get Anthony Edwards. This guy was a beast in the playoffs last year, the play-in, and I think he's just one of the more underrated guys, even though Scottie Barnes is going to be the greatest player of all time. I can see at this moment in time, during this temporal passage, why an article would rank Anthony Edwards there. And I'm going to say that for all the guys that I agree with on this point, because Scottie's obviously the GOAT. Zion, the potential is ridiculous. The guy was All-NBA second team, in a season where he barely played, but averaged just on a ridiculous efficiency, I think high 20s in points per game, right? Zion's legit. He is a legit guy when he actually plays, but the injuries have to be taken into concern. If you're, guaranteed a generational player, right, then you weigh those risks, I guess build around. You got to YOLO it with Zion Williams' injuries there, but I think he's written off all the questions off the court by signing that extension with the New Orleans Pelicans, but the injuries are a serious concern. So that's the debate there with our guy, Scottie. Trae Young. Defense, if you want to take that into account, Scottie Barnes has overtaken. A lot of guys have overtaken Trae, but he's made the conference finals in his young career, and Trae is legit. I think he gets overhated a bunch just because he is smaller. He's not much of a two-way guy, and he has that ego, so a lot of people don't like him, but I like Trae Young. I think he gets hated on. He has that unorthodox foul baity style of play, but that is what it is. And at the top 3, we have John Morant, we have Jason Tatum, and we have Luka Doncic. At this point, you can't really argue Scottie over any of those guys. They're very established players in the NBA in terms of building cornerstones around, but he's going to get there, man. He's going to get there. I like that he's already getting the credit, getting thrown into these lists, especially when just last year people were hating on the Toronto Raptors for drafting him 4th in the draft. So Scottie Barnes working that potential. Fair list from Bleacher Report. No golden kazoos, no OGs. When I first scrolled through the article, I thought we might be able to get some golden kazoos in there, but they're giving respect to Scottie Barnes, which I appreciate, even if I would have him higher on this list. So that's that list. That's what we were breaking down there from Scottie Barnes. The next thing we're talking about is Precious Achiuwa. Trainer gave a big long interview in terms of Precious's development, the stuff he's working on, and there's a lot of cool nuggets that came from it. And the first thing is apparently he's gotten a ton better. He's gotten significantly better this offseason. It's just directly quoted from the trainer. He's blown away. He's saying all the same things Nick Nurse is saying, the ambiguous, just gotten a lot better. And this is what we want to see from young, promising big men that, are working on their games, trying to build out. He was obviously an inside-out player coming into the Miami Heat during his rookie NBA season. And last year, we decided to expand his game, have some growing pains there, but the propaganda kept on. And Precious Achiuwa won over the hearts. By no propaganda needed, even though it was definitely spewed on this channel. But he won over the hearts of a lot of Raptors fans, and he's taking that growth. So apparently he's gonna look a whole lot better. Apparently also he was the trainer Aaron Rose also wrote up this article, gave this interview. He was asked basically, what's his thoughts on the situation with the Raptors? Does he enjoy it? And apparently, obviously, he has that relationship with Masai Ujiri that goes back deep. They have a really close connection there with the Giants of Africa. And then Masai Ujiri, essentially, when he was acquired, saying we finally got him. We wanted to bring him here in the first place. So, they have the long-term connection, Masai Ujiri and Precious Achiuwa. But he also discussed his relationship with newly hired coach Rico Hines, which is a nice positive that he has all these player relationships across the league. And he said he loves Nick Nurse, which might be interesting because Precious Achiuwa is coming off the bench, looking like he might be a bench player next season. That's a topic that was brought up in the interview as well. But just loves how Nick Nurse pushes him to get the most out of him, and Precious is willing to be a system player and have an impact in his role, whatever he's asked to do, whether it's a lot or if it's a little, because the Raptors clearly have some talent on this team. But if Precious is capable of more, he's definitely going to start getting asked of more, given how everyone's been talking about him. The trainer went on to say in that article, when questioned by Aaron Rose, saying that he liked Precious to start. He was calling him P. I don't want to call him P because we call Spicy P, Pascal Siakam P on the spot, but saying that he loves Gary Trent Jr.'s game, thinks he's a great player, but Precious Achiuwa, just the fit-wise, probably would make some sense of starting, and his growth and development just sort of warrants a starting role. Even, though Precious is happy, I don't think he's saying this as Precious would be disgruntled coming off the bench this season, but saying it wants Precious to start, and I feel like that's going to be a very interesting topic of discussion heading into this regular season. So I won't dive into that debate, that argument here now, but that was an interesting tidbit from the article, and specifics in terms of what he's developing. Decision making was a big one, as well as shooting. Right? They're working on playing with pace, doing things at NBA level game speed on the wings, because Precious Achiuwa was really only playing in the post, playing as a roll man down there for the Miami Heat, and then he was asked to do a lot of dribbling on the wings, creating for other people, make some reads that he just wasn't ready for at the start of last season, and quickly grew as the season went along. And a full offseason of playing at that level, working on those things, it's going to be huge for Precious's development going into next year. So what do you guys expect from Precious Achiuwa? Because I'm encouraged, man. Obviously, this animation, how old is it? I think I started breaking it out when people were roasting him 2 weeks into the season, but actually I might have brought it out following preseason, because the Precious propaganda has been high on this channel, but I want to know where people's heads are at with Precious. Do you think he should start? Where do you think he's going to grow next season? But the next thing we're discussing, the next topic we're diving into, is the Raptors celebrating Serena Williams, obviously one of the greatest women's tennis players of all time, right? She's retiring from the sport and played her final match. I'm not that up on tennis vernacular, but I believe tennis match would be the word to describe, in Toronto. And the Raptors and the Leafs, Maple Leaf Sports, they gave a nice tribute to the tennis superstar. Essentially, giving her a gift for giving her farewell jerseys from the Leafs and Raptors, giving her daughter a jersey as well. And she came out with the quote, "I love playing here. I've always loved playing here. I've always had some amazing times here on and off the court. I'll be coming back as a visitor to the city." And then this Reddit post that quoted this video. I tried to get the full video, but copyright stuff is a little bit of an issue. But Chris Bouchard is in shambles. I wanted to throw that in there, just throw some shade at Chris Bouchard. I've stayed away from roasting him too much, but yeah, that's love to see Serena embracing the city, embracing all the fans and all that sort of stuff. And I thought it was a classy tribute for the Raptors to give those jerseys, and Raptors and the Maple Leafs to give those jerseys to Serena. And speaking of Leafs Digest is back as well. Zach put out a fire video with an updated setup, updated look. So if you're a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs, definitely check out their channel as well, Leafs Digest. But shout out Serena Williams. quality tennis career. As a guy that doesn't really follow tennis, you always watch him when Serena Williams is out there playing. So, it's just the elite athletes, the top of the top, the upper echelon. They're so fun to watch. So, quality career. Happy the Raptors gave a little tribute there. And the final thing we're discussing is a viral Scottie Barnes photo. Just a classic, what are we doing on this channel over the off season? We're just soaking in all the Scottie Barnes content, and my goodness, we gotta look at this photo. Look at Scottie Barnes. Look at this physical specimen. He is coming out. The muscle was not fake news, right? I always joke about the fake news of Chris Boucher's muscle a couple years ago, but the muscle, too many pics, too many videos of Scottie Barnes coming out. He is this man is gonna be scary next season for any other NBA defender to guard. So, or if you're trying to get around him, because Scottie Barnes is coming in ready to go. So, well, let me know what you guys think on all this Toronto Raptors news, this article breakdown. If you like that style of video with the phone going off, but you guys are the best to make us far. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, the Twitter, all that cool stuff. Anyways, enough of me rambling. You guys are the best. I'm signing out. Cheers.